early days, my country where I'm from, in the period that I was born, a few years before I was born, the war had started. So, I mean, people refer to it as the breakup, Yugoslavia, Bosnian Civil War, Bosnian genocide, whatever you refer to it. But I was actually born like in the middle, the heat of the war. So I was born in December of 1993, and basically, I was born in a small town called Foinica, and the town that I'm actually from, we really had no tie to it. I have no family there. I have no real tie to it. We were basically just kind of like emigrating across the country, any place that was safe, because the main town, Sarajevo, the capital, is where we were from, is was like under siege. So if you can imagine, like San Francisco, where you have the hills kind of surrounding the city, basically in those hills were tanks, snipers, mortars, grenadiers, everything, every kind of like military person you can expect. And basically they had curfews on people. They were shelling the city every single day. So there was grenades, mortars, snipers going off every day. And really it was like normal to be shot at, to be, tank to go off, anything, these kinds of crazy things. And it didn't really matter if you were a kid, if you were a man, if you were a woman, like basically anybody was fair game. So, I was born basically during that time. And actually in the place that I was born, it was like a 1-bedroom apartment where I think like 7 people were living at the time, 8 people were
Wow.
living at the time. And we actually didn't have power. So what they did was, and my mom didn't have any medicine during the delivery. So I was like 8.5 pounds,
Oh,
nine
man.
pounds. And my head is humongous. She had to do that with no medicine and with
Wow.
no power. So they had to literally take a car battery out of a car, connect it to light bulbs, and manufacture some kind of light, some kind of warmth and heat. And I was born during that, and basically, ever since then, it was just tough. Like for my mom, for my dad. So in the months that I was born, or prior to that, my dad was actually captured in the southern part of Bosnia where we lived before in Mostar, and he was captured and he was in a concentration camp for about 2.5 months.
Wow.
So in the concentration camp, he was beaten, he was brutalized, all kinds of stuff, and he was actually homeless, or not homeless, shoeless during the time. So, and it was snowing during that part of the winter, and he eventually ended up getting gangrene and losing a few of his toes. So his toes became like black and necrotic. So he had to cut them off on his own.
Wow.
He cut off his own toes during the time he was in there because it could spread to his leg and he could lose his legs.
Right.
So, like the early years were, rough, and we actually ended up losing our house. Our house was destroyed, and basically we were. I was a few years old, and about 3, 4 years old when that happened. So we didn't have really nothing. So a lot of people were trying to escape, before the war, and we weren't as lucky because we couldn't get our stuff approved. So basically around the time like I was like 7.5, 8 years old, we had gotten a visa approved basically through a lottery, like a 1 in 10,000 lottery. So
Mm.
we just got fortunate enough to be selected and be able to come here. And that wasn't easy either. That wasn't no
Sure.
lottery by any means. I mean, it is a lottery to be able to come here and live and work here. But we came and with a family of 4 and the disabled. My dad was disabled. We had about $200, $300, and like a 1980 Mazda that somebody gave to us with like 300,000 miles.
Wow.
So the early years when I was here, I was in like 3rd grade, 4th grade, and no English, like absolutely zero English. I spoke not one word of English. So we lived about 2 miles from the school I went to. I had to walk a mile and then catch a bus going to the other one as a 8.5-year-old kid, 9-year-old kid, because my mom was working 70 hours a week just to be able to pay the rent. So I had to walk as a 9-year-old kid in a foreign country that I've never been to,
Mm.
you know, city bus, not a school bus. So we didn't have a school bus that went around the area we were in because we were almost like out of district because we couldn't afford the area the school was in. So I was like 8.5 years old, me and my brother, which was like 17, 16 at the time, walking to the bus, a mile every day and
Mm.
walking home. And my mom was working, 70 hours a week. So from that point it was very difficult. But I think that's kind of like our story, it's just like perseverance. I think a lot of like Bosnian people that came here, and even during that war, like people really, I don't know if it's something in our blood or something in our, I don't know if, like they say, the man makes the circumstance, or the circumstance makes the man. I just
Yeah.
think that, tough time, I guess, I don't know, maybe force people to come together and really strive and persevere. So